Okay, so I'm recording this for the posterity for the next race that comes after this one.
Okay.
Find things buried in the ground.
Where's the house?
Okay. All right, I'll give a little summary.
Rabbi Kamman,
What?
do you have an extra text?
Yeah, it's funny.
Like, I don't think.
Mhm.
It's just firm, let me know, okay? But I don't want to do, because he's a garage kid, but we could run away. He knows how to run.
We've learned 5 sections of a 20-section mimer, which is the mimer from the previous Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe, which this mimer, I've mentioned this a few times, became the mission statement of Chabad. I mean, I didn't make up that expression. Many people call it that. This mimer gives a sense of what is Chabad meant to do in America. Because the Rebbe, our Rebbe Menachem Mendel, took this mimer, and every year on the anniversary of the passing of the previous Rebbe, he would learn with us one paragraph, one section a year. And there are 20 sections. So we're learning the original one. What we've learned so far, in short, this mimer is based on a sentence in Exodus. It says, Asuli Mikdash, make for me a holy temple. God's commanding us. I mean, all the parshas were now. They'll say we're in the journey. We're traveling from Egypt to Sinai, and then Sinai to the Holy Land. And we're carrying with us this tabernacle, which is erected and then brought down, up and down, in very, very particular ways. And we get this, where do we get this from? It says, the commandment, make for me a holy temple, Asuli Mikdash, V'shechanti b'seichom, and my divine presence will dwell within it. And the Midrash says on this, it doesn't really say within it, b'seicha, which would be feminine, of it. It said b'seichom, plural. So the Midrash goes on, and then this is inherited by Chassidus, make for me a holy temple so that my divine presence can dwell within you, within each and every one of us. And that's the mission of this climate, to teach us what it means and how to become a sanctuary for God. Okay? In the first part of the mimer, he dealt with one aspect of the Mishkan, which he's going to continue to, but in a little different way, the pillars of the Mishkan. The pillars of the Mishkan were made from cedar wood, but there was a supple cedar, a supple, not that it would fall over, on the contrary, but able to bend. And it's called Atze Shitim, wood that can bend. But the word bend is also the word shtust, Shitim shtus, which means literally stupidity or folly. And from this we learn that the foundational supports of our holy temple have to be our willingness to go out of the box of rationality into the world beyond. So there's a stupidity of holiness, and there's a stupidity of the other side. He gave examples of the stupidity of holiness. Great tzaddikim in the Gemara, when it came to a chasana, one of them would juggles pieces of wood of fire in front of the collar, or dance out of his mind. That's a stance of shtus to kedushas. Just, dance itself is not a cerebral thing. I mean, yes, the mind's involved. It's a mindful thing, but it's not an intellectual thing. Like so get out of that. Get out of that. And then we have, God forbid, on the side of the other side, where you just lose yourself to negativity, unreasonable negativity that can get you in trouble, negativity that can break you, that can make you addicted, and it's all the things that are also not reasonable, but for some ungodly reason you need to do them. Right? And that was the first part of the monument. And now he's going to take these pillars a little bit further. They're called crushing, cedar wood, beams of cedar. Okay. There's an introductory paragraph. Okay, we're starting to read. Hayeshiv beganyin, This is a pasuk from Shir HaShirim. The whole Maimer is based on the Song of Songs. Mucho Chassidus written on Shir HaShirim. This is in Shir HaShirim, chapter 8, verse 13. The first one was Bosi L'Gani, come to my garden, my bride, my beloved. This is the returning to the Garden of Eden. Again, the notion of how to bring ourselves as we have to get ourselves back to the garden. Any of you know Joni Mitchell's tunes? Yeah, you know Joni Mitchell's tunes? And we have to get ourselves back to the garden. Okay, so this is the guy. Hayesheves beganim, those who sit in the garden. The Haverim, the friends, this is language of the that we're going to elaborate on, the Zohar. The friends, the ministering angels, all who sit in the garden, ministering angels, makishim lekela, they pay attention to your voice. So we don't know what the garden is. All we know is that if you're sitting in it, if you're in a gardenly, holy garden, a garden of holiness, things are open and everything is listening for that. Everything sort of has an ear waiting and open for the sound of holiness to ring through. It says, so these ministering angels, they pay attention to your voice and they say, Hashmeini, let us hear. Let us hear the Kedusha, the holiness. Rashi says, Hayeshevas beganim, what's it mean, sitting in the gardens? HaKadosh Baruch Hu oimer l'knesset Torah, the Holy One, blessed be He, speaks to the Jewish people and says, At hanafutza, you are, At hanafutza, At hanafutza begula. You are rising up in the exile, Reya baganim, and you are literally pasturing gardens, meaning seeding, cultivating, bringing forth gardens, shelachirim of others, hayeshbim babati kanesias, and you're bringing forth gardens. Who does this refer to? Who are bringing forth gardens down here in the gullus, sitting in the gullus. This refers to Oisheves bebate kanesias ubati midrashos. These are people who are sitting in the houses of prayer and in the houses of learning. Chaverim, and they're called chaverim down here. Chaver. We're sitting together. We're a group of friends. What makes the word chaver by itself? This is going to be a nice piece of analysis of language. Chaver means to join, right? If you join things, a friend is someone with whom you're joined. And when Jewish people and humanity in general is joined, the angels up above are pleased by this. And they say, let us hear it. These are the ministering angels who is called God's friends, or in this case, our friends. They're compared to the children of God Himself. So these holy angels, they're coming and listening to our voices. Right now they only hear this voice, but all over the world there are voices, right? In homes just around this block and in shuls all over the place. The evening is a time when a lot of men come home after work and they go back at night to the Beis Midrash and they learn, right? And it's a time when women are the end of the day. They're saying Krishma Lamita, they're davening Ma'ariv. So voices are going out. I just pick nighttime because it happens to be night. This happens all day. That the voices of holiness are rising, and the angels up above he's telling us. This is what the Torah tells us. Rashi tells us, the angels come and they listen to you.
I love on Shabbos morning when you walk, I walk down to Empire and Albany. So I love hearing all the different shuls. Every second you see, and they're all in the different melody. But it's amazing to hear all the different shuls davening at once.
You guys warm enough? You good enough? You?
I'm too warm.
Okay, fine. Eretz Yisrael, Jerusalem, is another place. But, so it's an interesting thing just to think about it. The fact that we're just sitting here and hanging around with the Torah, it's creating pleasures up there.
It says in Chassidus and all over, what an angel wouldn't give to say one singular.
One,
right. Right.
What he's saying, he said, an angel would give anything to be able to say the words that we're saying of Torah. They're on missions. They're doing things, but they look at us. Yes. In the times when the Jewish people, I hear footsteps in there. In the time when the Jewish people are sitting in their gathering, Beis Knesset, by the way, is a place where it's a synagogue. So there's a different. Beis Midrash is where learning only goes on. Beis Knesset is where you can have a simcha, you can be gathered for multiple purposes, and the word Canisius just means to gather, to collect together. And so I'm going to take it that way. Any house or place where people collect together, Bati Midrashim, when they sit and they learn Torah, the Koiden as a Shema, when they cry out, right? So we take these words, we Kriya Krishna, we say is reading Krishna, but the word Kriya really means to call out. When they call out Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and they're occupied in Torah, the supernal angels give an ear and listen, pay attention. Ani umafti shili. God says, I and my whole family come and pay attention to people down here learning Torah and speaking Torah. She'ein b'neihem laikina, because when people are doing that, excuse me, I skipped a line. Ani upamalya shili, and my court comes down here. Boim l'shmei l'koilech, come down and listen to our voices. V'oid isa b'midrash rabbah. It's also brought in the midrash. Haverim Nikraya Malachei Hashoresh, these Haverim, which are called the ministering angels, Bibnei She'en B'neihim Laikina V'Laisina V'Charuha. Why are they're ministering angels? They only do what God has to say. They're totally cooperative. So there's not amongst them any jealousy, and not any hate, and not any kind of competition. They're one. They're just grooving with each other. Therefore, those who occupy themselves in Torah, but Yeshvim L'Gani, and sit in the garden, we're kind of sitting in a garden. The beginning commences in Midrashis of the garden of the shuls. Kind of weird that we're sitting in the garden of the shul. Right?
It used to be more of a garden before.
It had other flowers. Right? Yeah.
I want the planters back.
I want to interrupt myself by saying something I have to say. If you have anything that you're not getting, or comments, especially the comments and the questions, this class is always, I wouldn't say just improved, it's really made to the more the more we engage with each other and making sure we're on it and get a sense of it. What is that? Oops. Go in the front. The front. You want to would you just run around? That's why I unlocked the front.
It's probably better for security reasons to just have one.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's not like a women's, you don't need a women's entrance.
But also, like, only having one entrance is a little safer, if it's just us here at night,
Anna, you came in through the front, right? It's open. Right?
Fall asleep. Well, it's not her actual.
They're on the chat.
The one and only Golda.
Who is it? Golda. Golda's empty. And that goes for you guys out there as well, huh?
So
I really would like to hear if you have.
I waited for you. No, I waited for you.
Okay, let's move on. Oh, here comes two at a time. We're going to welcome you and bring you up to speed, and then we're going to get going. Also, your friend.
Ma? She's not a.
Well, you all found each other now. You all found each other now.
Yeah, we're all here.
Gonna bring the tea in your bag.
Golda, we'll wait for you, okay?
Hitting them fostered and trying to find a home for him if you're trying to.
Excuse the interruption. I'm talking to you. There's only two out there.
It's so curious how we're going in such depth about something about angels, right? Like it's so ephemeral. Like it's I would imagine like to explain this point, one would go through like our intellect, like our logic, but even the depth of the explanation itself is deals with something that you can't quite grasp. Angels listening to us. That's
Angels
curious.
listening to us.
I want to hear an amazing story about that altar.
Wait a minute, but you'll have to say it loud.
Well, they can't do what we can do. So if they're listening to us, they can like kind of.
Why are we using angels in order to elucidate?
All right, let's talk
The
about it.
angels, they're completely bought to Hashem. They have no.
But we don't like.
Yeah, but
We
the
can't
an-
relate to angels or to how they.
So when it came time for God to give the Torah, you may have heard this last week or the week before, because it's a common word said about Matan Torah. When God announced, who did he announce it to? I mean, there was nobody around, right? But he announced to himself, right? He's going to give the Torah. Who is he going to give it to? He says he's going to give it to the Jews. But no, first of all, he's going to give it to humanity, to human beings, right? Adam, the first man, is a general man. This whole deal about Jewish and non-Jewish comes much later. God is giving the Torah to the human. So this is one of the first times we hear about the angels. The ministering angels, you know this? They raise up their voice and say, why are you in protest? Well, tell us. Go ahead.
Well, yes. No.
All right, good. Why are you giving this to us, to them? And he answers, do you have a Yetzer Hara? That's his answer. Do you get that?
It's my shirts, I think.
Huh? What do you know? He said to the.
We don't
You said
fall.
something
We
was
don't
more
fall. We can't
My
learn.
shirts better.
Well, you said it. When did you say
And then
it?
he said
Sometime
it.
recently, you said that
I
we
heard it.
can't. Like, if we don't actually fall and transgress things, we can't really feel all the
So
mysteries.
falling is important. Falling is important.
I read a beautiful
Yeah, speak up loud.
You know what
Not
light
listening, you
points?
fall a lot.
You know what light points is?
Talk to them.
It's like the
To them.
I read in a beautiful mimer there that there ever said about this particular wording of the Gemara that it says, why can you have it? Because A, you don't serve idols. Why don't you serve idols? So first of all, is because you don't keep Shabbos. Why don't you keep Shabbos? Only because there are the Gaim around us. That's the only reason that
Because what?
some Jews have a taivan to not keep Shabbos.
Right.
If not for them, they wouldn't even have the. Oh no, sorry. First of all, is the idols. Why do they do idols? But only because of the Gaim that's around them. And then, had it not been for that, they wouldn't even have the tiniest desire to it. Then Shabbos, only because of their mundane activities, they do it. But if not for that, and then Kibbut of Aim, only because they have parents, etc., etc., etc. Meaning that, in essence, a Jewish soul is a lot higher, infinitely higher than the angels themselves.
Right.
The only reason that it does,
How are you getting that it's infinitely higher when you're subject to all this negativity?
because
Well,
only because of the stuff that's around them. Only because we're in this lowly physical
Only
world.
because we're here.
Had we not been here, we would be,
It would be great. We would be angels. We'd be
not
angels.
angels. We'd be
Better than angels.
we're one with God.
We'd be
the
one with
difference
God.
that we can make choices
Okay.
and we have free will.
So he gives it down here for the reason that, and he doesn't explain yet, that because we have this negativity, because we have a Yetzer Hara, that's specifically why I'm giving you this Torah. The punchline or the idiom, the cliche that describes this is turning darkness into light, right? Angels are given light and no free choice. They are agents of God. They can't do anything not. He created a being, and his major desire was for this being who has a desire to do something against him and nullifies that desire and overcomes that desire, or uses that power, uses that power of desire in the service of God instead of the service of the other side. Okay, And that's our topic. We haven't even got into our topic yet. About how some things, you can look at it one way or the other. But this was we talked about the last time, for those of you who were here. I won't get too much back into this. The beams of the Beis Hamikdash, so they could go either this way or that way. So we're going to now learn something about, this is also true of the letters and the words in which God gave the Torah. They can be taken a number of different ways as well. Okay, we're starting now, page 119, in the second paragraph that begins with the big letters Vahine. Yeah, I left the door unlocked purposely. I left the front door unlocked so people could come in.
Okay, well, we tried. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
So
Because
let's wait for
know that Johannes was, I know would want to come, and I'm concerned that she wouldn't come. I mean, she wouldn't be able to come.
wait for him to come.
Why does the other door need to be unlocked? I missed that.
What?
Can I say it again?
Why does the second door need to be unlocked?
Should the door be unlocked?
No. Why are we unlocking the second entrance?
I don't know, just so
They were confused.
people who are confused can come two ways. Okay, so now look, we're going to start, and I want you to please stop me and say what's on your mind. This is in the second paragraph. With this will be understood. The beams of the Holy Temple. Why were they made of this particular kind of wood, which is called keresh? Right. This is the first part of our mimer. Talked about one aspect of these cedar beams; they could bend either way, and a person can go either to the realm of kedusha, holiness, or the opposite. Right. Now we're going to bring out something else about these beams. Keroshim. Because it is written, God commands Moses to make this Mishkan out of keroshim, that certain kind of wood, the Mishkan, Atze shitim unden. And this is wood which can bend slightly either way. The Biradinian, why, huh?
What's I'm dim?
Stand.
Yeah, but what does it mean in the sentence? So
it should be stood up of Esa Shittim. The Mishkan should be stood up by these kind of wood. I mean, there's tons of you could explain. There's a lot of different ways, but he's just taking that simply. But the explanation is the Hine behagdama is a Zohar. In the preface to the Zohar, the Inyan ha'oisius, where the Zohar talks about the oisius. Oisius are letters. Hashem created the world with letters, right? In fact, it says oisi. The whole Torah is called oisi. And oisi is also a sign. He created the world with letters. The simple explanation of this, is often brought, and it's easy to understand, is his name. He created, just like you have a name, which is how you represent yourself to others. So God so-called has a name, which is the beginning of his representation to, but there is no other, his creation of others. The Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. So the Yud is a contracted point. It's the seminal point, the point of origin. From that seminal point of origin, there comes a broad and tall letter called Hey, right? So these are the first two worlds. They're called Olam Atzilus and Olam Abriya. It's not so important what they're called. And they have different characteristics. The world of Atzilus has a sense of a singular drop. Even though it's a world, it has a sense of the singularity that exists with it and God. The next world, tall but open, as the Hay is open, it's open to that, but it's got a lot more of its own. And that's the world of Bria. And then Vav comes down, and it brings down the last Hay, which is the world that we live in. So 4 letters describe 4 worlds. And the shape of the letters tells us something about the characteristic of the world.
In what way is this world open like it is in Burial?
It's open to. First of all, let's take its hardness. These legs, right? It has an opening to kedusha. It has an opening to kedusha, a small opening, different from the letter ches. The letter ches is totally closed. Everything points down. There's no way for kedusha to get in. This is a down, like just the letter ches, but it has an opening for God. So that's the deal with the opening. The short letter. The vav has no. Vav is just a line. Just a line. I mean, if you calligraphically, what's the word for calligraphy? If you make an adverb, calligraphically, every letter in Hebrew has a yud at the beginning, because everything comes from yud, from Hashem. Every letter, if you look at every letter on this page, you will see a little yud. Okay, so we're going to get into the letters. We're going to take this word keresh, which means cedar. Okay, I'm asking you for a moment to think in your mind. And this is holy, right? Keresh, kuf, resh, shin. Can you come up with a combination that would be just the opposite? Sheker. Sheker means lie. You could turn truth into lie. You can turn lie into truth. I mean, this is another example of conversion of darkness into light, or schlepping light into darkness. Right?
How do you convert lies into truth?
Turn around the letters. Same letters, different order. Kufreshin, the actual word.
The actual world, not just this.
You can live a world of lies.
But how do you turn the lies themselves into truth?
Oh, that's what we discuss. How do you turn the lies into truth? I guess most of us, I'll talk about myself, could probably talk about how easy it is to turn the truth into lies, or not recognize the truth and take lies for the truth. I mean, there's all kinds of mix-up that goes on here. But in an extreme, Keresh is the holy beam, and Sheker is the unholy lie. We're going to get into this a little bit, just a little bit. There's a whole lot of it. I'm not going to go through all of it, but enough to give you the sense of he's using now letters to talk about different states of consciousness. So listen a little bit. Okay. Okay. The letters. And it says in the preface in the Zohar that when it speaks about the idea of letters, the letters came in front of the Holy One, blessed be He, and in order for Him to use them to create. That's what the Zohar says. Okay? And to create the world. Isa the Ois Kuf. The letter Kuf came in front of Hashem. Here I am, right? And the Resh. Aswan the Chaziyu al Sitra Bisha Inu. And these were coming in a manner that was Sheker, in the order of Shin Kuf, which is the side of negativity. And when he took them and changed them around and put the Kuf in front, then they became Kesher, which is a knot, a connection. You getting this?
I was reading today, I don't know if it was yesterday's Tanya or today's, about Rebbe's commentary on of the Rebbe's word, and he was talking about how God wanted to create the world originally with Gevurah,
right,
and found that the world would not sustain itself, and thereby brought in the attribute of Chesed. So what you're saying kind of reminds.
Right, exactly. That's on the notion of same idea. Midos interacting, or now we're talking about letters interacting. It's exactly the same idea.
Yeah. Speaking of, this entire thing is very similar to yesterday's Yan.
You said it's similar to Hayyan, so tell them.
Because it says that exactly what people should do depending on what level of their being has a puncture if it's the body itself, which is, none of us are nearly on that level to only see the body, but then tzaddikim with that caliber, they would have to put down the body to be able to describe themselves with this negative
Get rid of the negative.
Get rid of the negative. Next is not the body itself, but the interplay between the soul and the body, which is the chachma bina das. And then each of those can lend themselves to small tidbits of evil. So then they have to go through a separate thing, not of destroying it, but of instead of using a sledgehammer, using a small screwdriver.
Okay.
And then for people, like us, who is by habit, they have to flip themselves to the other side.
Flip to the other side. Okay.
Completely. And that's the easiest one to do.
Good. Well, I'm going to now, if you're following, I'm going to skip a lot of lines. If you're following. Counting up from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. Begins with a little yud and a closed parenthesis.
Yes.
Okay. Over on the left, after the period says, Vehine. Behold. Afal P. You see it?
By the end
Little
of
to the
line.
left.
Okay.
Vehine? Yes or no? Okay. Afal P. The Dalet V'Reish. Hem Shavim B'Pirushim. Now we're going to look at 2 other letters. A Dalet and a Reish. What's the difference? A little yud. Right. The Dalet has a little yud in front of it. The Reish, straight curve. Right? So, in other words, there is a meaning. Rash, they mean in the meaning of the word Rash and Dal are 2 Hebrew words. Both means poor. Rush and Dal, poor. But there is a difference. But they can be, there are different characteristics of poorness or richness. But in terms of shape, there's a very, very big difference, a very small difference, which is a big difference, which is that the Dalet has this little yud at the beginning. So, even though they have a similarity in terms of meaning, they're very, very far apart. The letter Dalet and the letter Reish. If you mix up and you use a Reish in the place of a Dalet, right? So what it would be, or a Dalet in the place of a Reish, so you can destroy worlds. All right, why is that? Dalet means a poor person. Dalit is a poor person. Dal is poor. But as you said, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. It's a certain kind of poverty, which is not always associated with money, but holds himself low. He's not haughty. Humble. That's the Dalit. That's the poverty that has a yud in front of Dalit. Rash is a different thing entirely. It's all about me, and I have to get whatever I have to get, whether I take it from you, or whether I steal it, or whether I get it from a trash can. That's a different story. Now you can have them both together. The poor person who just can't find any other parnasa except from the trash can, and at the same time he's very humble. But if you take them apart, the Dalet has a sense of humility, and the Rash doesn't. Rash is also Russia. It's an evil person, right?
It's like Esau.
Noisy, the opposite from the
Yeah. All right, with that.
Especially in Esau.
The word Ashir,
Huh?
the word Ashir, rich, Ashir.
Ashir.
If you take the Ayin, the Chokhmah, and the Yod, Chokhmah, will be Rash.
You'd be Rash. You'd be a fool.
The Ashir will be full, only in one word.
Okay, so.
Like Echad, okay.
Yeah, there's an excellent thing, right? Echad is one, You just change the last letter by lopping off, by smoothing it out, and you have other. There's not one, there's another. All right, what is this all about? It's all about the whole first choice was about how you take the bending of the beams and take it to yourself. You can bend either way. The second thing is be careful with your language. Be really careful. Right when Rabbi Akiva who was asked, there's Hillel, right, was asked by the heretic or whatever he was to teach him the Torah on one foot, right? That which is hateful to you, don't do to others, etc. When you bring things together, bringing things together is always holy. Splitting things apart, separation is the opposite, right? So, top of page 120, where we can, hi, Connie, good to see you. On top of page 120, we're going to now go on with our story after getting some sensitivity to not just words, but letters. The ois dalid, huva kedusha. We said that's in the side of holiness. The ois reish, the rash, is ma'asvan yischayehu el sitra bisha. That's from letters which show that they're from the negative side. The difference between them, bitamuna, in their form. I think I said what he's about to say. The ois dalid, the letter dalid, right? It has that little yud, which is God's initial letter behind it. The ois yud moira ala bittul. The ois yud shows on opening up, removing blockages, being aware, being open to the what that you can't say anything about, right? Being open to what's above reason, the shtus to kedusha, opening yourself up. This becomes like a huge key in terms of what Chassidus says. I was going to say therapy, but that cheapens it. Chassidus as a tool for behavior change.
With therapy is a cheapening thing. Therapy is a very good thing.
No, I know, but it's common. Right? It's common. All right, and I
wanted some unique therapy that no one else knows how to do.
Yeah, secret, but it's not unique anymore. Well, people now know this, that bittul, openness, right? Who wrote the famous bunch of books on vulnerability? A woman. Come on, you guys know, it was famous 10 years ago. Vulnerable. Huh? It doesn't matter, but if it comes to, it comes to.
Jewish or not Jewish?
What?
Jewish or not?
Was she Jewish or not? I don't know.
Louise Hayes?
Not Louise Hayes. No, not Louise Hayes. In any case, vulnerability in previous generations when I grew up, and especially for guys, vulnerability was not a good thing.
No,
it's not a good thing.
It was not.
Right? Maybe for a woman, but not for me, right? Yeah, and all of a sudden, vulnerability became a huge virtue when understood as openness, right? Making myself vulnerable, making myself vulnerable. And that's called bittul. And why I'm laboring this a little bit, because the simple meaning of taking the word bittul was the way it was understood before Chassidus, is to beat yourself fast. In that way, make yourself nothing. But Chassidus came and said that may have worked either in those days or for some people, but it's not. Bittul has to be understood the way we're understanding it, opening yourself up. So you have the difference between the yud shows on bittul, vasira garma. The letter shows it. Now, who is bittul? All right, we have a notion, a structure of things that there's a mashpia, one who gives out, and there's one who receives. God is, from the perspective of creator, is the giver, and the creation is the receiver, right? So, but we also have this on the micro level. The micro level, there is a seed that goes into the earth. The earth needs to be seeded, and the earth needs to be open to receive it. And this is the difference between all the 6 midos from Chesed down to Yesod and Malchus. All that energy of emitting seed is masculine, and this is receiving. So that's an idea of openness. Hainu Malchus Atzilus, and that's why kingship is a very interesting, I mean, to me, and I hope to you, phenomenal. Why kingship? Jared, bring out a chair. Why kingship is understood as feminine?
If you don't see this chair, I'll use it.
The ultimate, there's a difference between a, you ready? The difference between a king and a despot. They both govern large territories. They're the ruler of the territory. The difference between a true king, this is the way the Torah defines a king. A king rules in the interests of his people. Everything about the king has nothing to do with himself, but only for what's good for the people. And that's one of the ways that Melech HaMashiach is defined. Whereas a despot is primarily interested in what the people can do for me. You know, create an army so that I can conquer that and be the master of that, right? So this openness is really a feminine quality. Like the earth receives the seed, like the womb receives the seed, it's open. So there's a huge feminine quality in Torah understanding of Malchus. Now there has to be the giving also, right? But there's no king without a kingdom, right? And therefore there has to be a receiver. Good? I mean, understood? All right.
But does the Hebrew language in the Tanakh in particular have a word that would mean despots, so as to contrast
Memshola, the word memshola. Memshola.
Which means
dominance. It's not only government, it means dominate. Dominator. Dominator. The difference between Malchus and Memshola.
Got it.
There is a Hebrew word. Yeah. Malchus Atzilus. Now, Malchus of the top world, the Leisle Megamer Klum, which has no feeling of separation from God. And one thing I think should put on the table here, we're going to talk about worlds, and I mean, I'm sort of recapitulating my own.
Hey.
Seema,
I don't think we have any left. But I have these bath steamers.
Seema, can you mute, please? Mute. Seema, can you mute, please?
Hello, mommy. Yeah, it's like.
Who's this? Seema, please
Yeah.
mute. Please mute, Seema.
Wait, you should make it so you have the ability to mute.
I can.
But
Can you mute the group? I need the button.
There is a button?
Yeah, mute everyone.
There's a button.
Participants.
Participants.
I don't know how. I'm just saying. I don't. Yeah, no, I'm old. I don't know how, but.
Would there be any great loss if you were to turn the volume on?
Mute all.
Okay.
Oh, I just did it.
I'm sure she knew she would.
Huh?
She can still hear you.
She can hear me. Yeah, and she can unmute herself. I just mute all, and they can unmute themselves. Okay, take two. All right, take two. That was a skinny on Malchus, right? The ultimate king. Hi, maybe there's a chair right there, or that's Hani's chair.
I can also abandon this chair if people can't get to the other chairs.
The ultimate.
Using it as a dinner holder.
Malchut Mekabelet. The primary characteristic of a king is a receiver, not a giver. And that's why Malchus is feminine. Right? That's why Malchus is feminine. We ought to start this thing at 9:30. Right? And we'd have a whole bunch of people.
No, I wouldn't be here
11.
ever at 9:30. 9:30 is late when I am normally asleep.
How can I possibly
Keep going.
just keep going? All right, keep going. Thank you. Okay, Malchus. Malchus of Atzilus, it doesn't really matter where. and we're not going to get hung up on the different worlds, but they have very different characteristics. Remember, Malchus is primarily a receiver. It's the feminine. It's receiving from the crown up above, and these things go together. Okay, but the crown is much gives to the kingship. Malchus of Atzilus and the world of Atzilus is a world that's very different from ours. It simultaneously feels itself and God. No difference. It's self-fullness. It is a self, in an entity, but at the same time, it has consciousness of being non-entity. That's a state of consciousness most of us. Maybe there's some in the place who have that, but that's the Atzilus space where he and his world is one. Then when you get down to Bria, and it's more sense of separation and more sense of separation till you get down to this in terms of a place where the predominance is the stuff and the lack of predominance is the energy which fills the stuff.
So what's the difference between Bria and Sira?
Less revelation.
But in what way? Like you said, there's a very big difference between, say,
Atzilus and
Bria.
Yeah, because the Chassidus says Atzilus and then Bia. All the three lowers are completely different from Atzilus. So Atzilus is the only place. Now, but I want to say this because we're constantly talking about all of these things, everything we're talking about. Remember this, the fundamental of the mimer. This is important if you haven't heard it. Make for me a holy temple, and my divine presence will dwell within you. Each and every, plural, remember plural, not within it, but with you, plural. Each and every one of us has within us the model of the holy temple. In the holy temple, there was a place like Atzilus. It's called Kodesh Kadoshim, the Holy of Holies, into which a Kohen, the high Kohen, walked and totally lost his sense of self and was given an infusion from the everything. And he came out, and only if he was pure. If he weren't pure, he wouldn't be able to maintain that simultaneous state of two opposites existing at the same time, self and selfless at the same time.
Too much light for the camel.
What?
Too much light for the camel.
It would be too much light for the vessel. So there we get to the topic of vessel. If we're going to be a holy temple, we have to learn how to take the simple meaning of the temple as it's described in the Chumash and apply it to ourselves. The first thing we did in this mimer is we applied the cedar beams, and they could bend in either way. And we used them, the Frierdiker Rebbe used them as a metaphor for we all have a super rational consciousness that transcends intellectualism, and it can go into holiness or it can go the other way, the dark side or the light side, neither subject to reason. And what we've learned tonight is that there are letters, the letters of the Torah themselves, letters themselves indicate the same kind of dichotomy. And we'll take the last one that we talked about, the letter Dalet and the letter Resh. Right? The letter Dalet has a Yud behind it. And Dal means four, but in the sense of open, bittul. That means Dal, right? You take away that little point of the Yud and you have a word Rash, which yes is connected with the word Russia, but he doesn't bring that here. But Rash, you're full of yourself. Just if you lack that little point. So again, the idea is to think of this as he's talking about me and you. We all have this within us. And we have the choices to make whether we're a Dal or a Resh, whether we're a cedar leaning this way or that way. Okay. So the world of Atzilus has no sense of itself, which is a paradox. It's a world, and it has no sense of itself. If it has no sense of itself, how is it a world? It's a world. All right, but it is. It lives. This is one of the hugest generalizations that the person can take away. Wherever you find paradox, you'll find God. Where you find two extremes, and you see the way to integrate them. There's no contradiction anymore between let's say you're a dancer. That's been your profession, and you were a ballet dancer.
No kadosh v'kadosh.
To bring that dance into holiness, that's the big deal. To not dance because an expressing outward expression. I'll be more like the old virtue of the old way of looking at women. Women are at home, right, and men go and work. Men don't cook, and women don't. So you collapse those opposites and integrate them. Now you've got something. So collapsing it, you can be a yesh and at the same time not a yesh. So explain, why is a sealess? What's that? It's in a total state of nullification. And here we mean nullification doesn't mean I'm pushing that away. It means I'm open. I've opened myself up. And that refers to shiftless. Shiftless, by the way, the Baal Shem Tov says is the first step in Avodah. Shiftless. Shiftless. Avodah. Right. Achnoah. That's another word. Amilid. Bittul. Opening yourself up. Vezed the Malchus Atzilis. And this is the idea. Malchus of Atzilis, that level, that's in the Kuda Takasa Yesod. It becomes a point. Simple point. V'hainu bittul v'hanachas atzmusa. This is essential nullification. Lagabi shari haspiros, that the yud becomes, and all the spiros, all the midos become nullified to God. Asher b'zeh harihi nasis b'chinas klila kabbalah. And this, and only by doing this, does one become a vessel to receive. Talk to me. I'm talking too much. Talk to me.
Empty could be something planned, or empty could be something because there's no place to root it.
There's no place to root?
To be attached. So light, as if something smooth, it's harder to attach to it.
Right. It's softer, Yes. All right, that's beautiful. She's saying very simply, if you would like to experience more godliness, make yourself softer, like a supple piece of clay, rather than a already
or a very soft kitten.
Or a very soft kitten. Right. Don't bake yourself in an oven yet. Make stay with the soft state.
Be open and flexible.
And be open and flexible.
Very flexible.
But Kamaimer, it says, this is what our sages, where's the Maimer from? Can't read it. It's a saying, I don't remember it's from. Hold on a second. Just lost the place. Kamaimer, like it says, Klireikun Maxik, an empty vessel. This is like so simple, right? Listen, so an empty vessel holds stuff. A full vessel can't hold anything. Would you like to get a hold of yourself? Would you like to get a hold on God? Would you like to get a hold on something intangible? You're going to have to find a way to find a place for it. That's all. A bittul v'shiflis. Then you can receive. Amitis hashbos harav. Now he's talking here now in a metaphor that he didn't really introduce. He used it before. The metaphor is a lot in Chassidus of a teacher and a student. And very simply, it's the teacher, God, the teacher, the one who knows something, wants to give it over to a pupil. So the first thing the teacher has to do is try to get into the place of the recipient. Right? If I'm Einstein and there's a 6-year-old boy sitting in front of me, I'm not going to teach, and I want to teach. I want him to teach what I understand. I'm going to have to find letters that are on that person's level, right? So this is the metaphor of the Rav and the Talmud. To accept God, God is big. God finds letters. These are the letters of the Torah. For those of you who came late, we went through a couple of letters, just describing letters, the difference between a kuf and a resh, the difference between what we spoke about, the ches and the hey. Another example, the hey open, the ches close. Very, very similar. They almost, you could mistake one for the other, right? You could mistake raw power for kingship. That ain't kingship, that's despotism.
A beautiful story.
Openness is a king.
But
you have to talk.
I heard a story about this, that some of my someone complete haaretz was, he heard them davening, and by some Shema, they didn't know, they knew nothing about Torah, so they hardly even knew Shema. They couldn't read, so they said Acher, thinking that the dollar was a reish.
They said Acher, thinking the dollar was a reish instead of echad.
So then he corrected them, and then because of that, they stopped saying Shema, and then he heard somehow, either through a Rachna Kodesh or some middleman, he heard that Hashem was very displeased with that which he has done, because now this guy
made it so similar.
No, that he told this guy to stop.
Stop. He told him to stop.
He stopped because he couldn't say it. So Hashem said that was. You have no idea how much pleasure that caused me to hear this guy, even though he was such a big Am Haaretz, was just complete sincerity, and he tried to say it, although he couldn't, actually formulate it because he didn't know what to say.
Right.
So Hashem was very displeased with this Am Haaretz.
Reminds me of the similar story about the little boy in the flute in the Baal Shem Tov. Was it Yom Kippur? He didn't know how to daven. And, people, and he's playing a flute. And first of all, you can't play a flute on Yom Kippur. And people are getting, and they're saying, no, this is the sweetest thing, because this is coming from the heart. This is coming from the openness. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, back to our mashal. If the teacher wants to give to a student, right, Einstein to a 6-year-old, right? Yeah. So it isn't sufficient, that which the Talmud doesn't hold himself very much. The Talmud has to open himself up, and the Rav has to really break down. This is any teacher who's teaching. If your interest is in communicating, you have to have at front and center the people with whom you're communicating, right? So it's not about you, it's about them. And so the good teacher, it's about that kid. So I've got to find a way of speaking that where I can put my highfalutin ideas aside and speak in the language of a 6-year-old. And I have to nullify myself for that. Let us get rid of all this other stuff. And the more that one opens oneself up, so much more will be the receiving. Any relationship. And it's so hard, right? Especially in some relationships, to put yourself aside and not just become, he or she offended me. Well, I'm going to come right back with something else, right? But if you really want to change the relationship, one of you has to start with just being open. Instead of, say, interpreting that person's anger as something that's directed to destroy you, and therefore you get really weird, that person gets angry. What can I do to assuage that anger? Step out of the way? That's a bittul which works a lot, right? Someone starts screaming, you just leave the room. And then there's nothing to talk about. But then, so you nullify, you come back, you go away and you come back and you say, look, this person has an issue with anger. I'm here to try to help, and I'm not going to aggravate it. So receiving it. And a metaphor for this. He gives an interesting mashal, which I've never seen before. The preparation that a person makes to lift up a heavy object. When it comes to a light object, you don't really need any preparation, right? You don't need any preparation. But if it's heavy, I'm already like making a first, and I'm going, and it's going to. There's something else going on in my mind. Interesting mushroom. When something is light, you don't have to, get too involved. But the heavier it is, the more you prepare yourself and try to, what angle am I going to take it from? What's the leverage point? What's the fulcrum? Whatever. So you can lift up a heavy object. You don't jump into the lurch. Just open yourself up to possibilities, and you'll be able to lift it.
When I consider that marshal and then the metaphor of the teacher-student relationship, in the real world, those are tangible things. You have the teachers right there to show you, okay, if you squat a little bit more this way, if you scoot, if you whatever, grab your hands in this way, like very tactile.
Right.
But in our relationship to God, it's
all right. So God gets it. So He's given you a Torah, which is a language. The Torah means teaching. The Rebbe, how many times the Rebbe said, Torah milashon hara. Torah is the language of teaching. And all the metaphors that are in it, that's what we're doing here, right? We're trying to grasp something from all the metaphors that the Torah has given us to use. So, for instance, when it says, Nasa odem b'tzelmeinu, let us make man in our image, right? So what does that mean? Just as God has all the characteristics that can ever be, I also have one. But God also makes choices about what He's going to do, and He's given us free choice. I'm just using that as an example. To the extent that one takes the Torah as a teaching, that means, number one, you put yourself in a position of a learner. That's a very important thing to do. And that's hugely important.
A person can think he's in a learning receptive mode for years,
receptive.
Still remain the same.
If you work, the Torah says no, and it uses an example of the earth.
What?
The earth. The earth can say no, but if it behaves like an earth, meaning it's open to the seed, there's something much deeper than its own self, which is going to cause it to spring forth. The Torah says no, to the extent that it says that, this is something I harp on at some place, making fixed times for learning. Just Rabbi Akiva said it. We talked about this during Lag Boimer. Rabbi Akiva was the teacher of Shimon Bar Yochai. He said the Torah is like water on a stone. It will make a difference. It may take time, but it will. It's designed to penetrate your corpuscles. It's made for that. What?
He wants you to repeat it, not to repeat. Yes, to repeat, to say.
What did you say?
The Torah said the sense of the human.
It what?
You learn Torah and make the mitzvah. It's not only to learn. To do the mitzvah and understand it, you will be changed automatically.
You'll be changed. And it's important, but you see that doesn't happen all the time. And it may be even a lot of the time. I mean, you have to approach the Torah this way. I mean, I was very blessed, very, very blessed, that I learned Chassidus before I learned anything else. So it gave me a certain posture about how to take the other stuff. What I mean by that is, a person can get very haughty about what kind of a scholar that person is, what kind of scholarship, and what a Talmudist can get very, very haughty. But when you come into it with the notion that the Torah is here to soften you, to open you, two things happen. You become sensitive to the fact that this is not like you're going to become the next famous PhD in the field, and that's why you're learning this. You're learning this because this is your life, and the Torah is paving a way slowly into your heart and soul, right? And that's one thing. And the other thing is that it gives you a sense of relationship that I don't. It's just I want to find the right words. There's probably a saying from this that well, there's an expression that comes from now the sages of Chazal. The only heart which can hold a blessing is a broken heart. Does anybody know the Hebrew language? It's like the only heart which can hold a blessing is a broken heart. You got to be open. And if you're open, your attitude toward Torah changes, and the Torah, you allow the Torah to come into you, and you've accepted that I don't understand how it is that this thing can do this thing. You know, particularly if you're learning Gemara or Halacha, or as you said, mitzvahs. Mitzvahs really are all from a realm beyond way understanding. Even if they're mitzvahs that seem to make sense, they come from way different than understanding. They're all designed to soften you, turn you, expose the underbelly of who you are, and bring richness to it. Regastus ruach, on the other hand, the other side, she'ein leid bittul, if a person doesn't have that openness, and he can't really receive the Torah. So you can learn Torah in a very un-Toradic way. You can learn it to be, I know a lot. I'm smart, right? And I feel good. I mean, you know, it's okay to feel good about that. But if that's why you're learning it, to show how you can be aggrandized by learning Torah, then even Torah you don't have. Well, that comes to me, Maimar Chazal. One who says, I have only Torah, even Torah he doesn't have. Humility
and
is...
It can be also naval ברשות התורה.
What?
It can be naval.
A naval, yeah.
ברשות התורה.
Yeah, novel is...
Higher level.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Novel. Explain what you mean by novel Torah. No.
Very bad, very smart and bad to use the Torah and to change it, that it will not be really effect. It's very
It will not be really a what?
It's Russia.
A Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so
Novel. Novel means a novel. If you call somebody a novel, that's really an insult. It's like your nose is in the crap. You're really a novel.
Don't call
a
other
novel
kids
kind of.
that. This, I mean, don't.
Okay. I think we're going to stop pretty soon because we've been here quite a while. But I want to stop with a stopping point. Huh?
What time is it?
What? It's 9:43, 9:45. So let's finish the thought here. Okay. So a person who's full of himself is not going to be able to receive Torah because Torah needs a ground to be softened. But one who opens up his heart to it, opens up his heart like water. Oh, excuse me, that's the other way around. One who gives us he feels very full of himself. In the time of learning, and he's not completely open. He holds himself something dear in his own eyes. Yeah. So that is going to destroy the Torah. The Torah won't have that feeling. It won't have that. It won't have the power that it's designed to have.
And also, if you know Torah and you don't teach, it's you get punishment.
You get punishment. You want to know the punishment of not keeping Torah?
Not teach.
Is not keeping Torah. You know what I mean? The punishment of not keeping Torah.
She's saying of not teaching Torah.
Huh?
She's saying of not teaching Torah.
Of not teaching Torah?
No.
Oh.
You know, and you don't teach, and you don't open, you don't say, you don't spread it. So it's it.
So that's a punishment? I'm not. You're going to get I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it sounds. I don't know. So what do we have for them before we go? We've been sitting here for a long time.
That's why I'm standing.
That's where you're standing. What do you have? Any take? What are you going to take? What am I going to take? I could tell you what I'm going to take.
Because there's a significant openness that's required for a human in order to be open for divinity. The thing is that there are ways to close off the possibility for divine creation or divine exception. And Atzilut, did I get that correct?
Yes.
Is the art of learning how to be a vessel that something can be built in it. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. But Atzilut is the word. It's the world of, did you mean the world of Atzilus?
Correct. But I would imagine that you didn't really.
The world of Atzilus is interesting. The world of Atzilus, by design, has no negative, has no drag. The world of Asiya has full of drag. So everything you said at the beginning is absolutely true, because this is the world where this is the world that Hashem put the Torah into. This is the world that needs the transformation. But Atzilus doesn't need any transformation. As we talked about, the angels they don't transform. Only we are meant to transform ourselves.
Angels not Atzilus?
Angels don't. The angels are who they are.
Atzilus?
Huh?
They're not Atzilus?
There are beings in Atzilus. They're called the Netzolim, the emanated ones. I've never heard, and I'm not saying I could be wrong. I've never heard of a name of an angel in Atzilus. Angels are generally in real Atzilus.
But what cross section of angels that are referenced in the Tanakh or other texts are fully indicative of how many exist?
I don't know what you mean.
That is to say, there may be many, many other malachim.
Oh yeah,
angels.
Huge amount. Yeah, lots of them.
Yeah. But how many of them are named versus how many of them exist?
That there are?
Yeah.
I can't answer that question.
Okay.
One thing I can say is same angels change their name. This is broad. Their name changes as their function changes. So the function is like Gabriel, right? He's a form of spiritual matter that's meant to express power.
Yes.
Right? But that spiritual matter can be reconfigured. And he'll have a different name. That's what I do mean.
It's almost like, for example, if molecules, as a result of a chemical reaction, like this one, then right. If they may change form, right. And as a result, they change their name. Right. So a carbon dioxide molecule and an oxygen molecule, they may both have oxygen, but they're two different names as a result.
The angel said to Yaakov, "Why you ask for my name?"
What?
The angel said to Yaakov, the angel Yaakov.
Why do you have so many?
Why you ask for my name?
Why are you giving? Okay, why are you asking for my name? Yeah.
It's when they're wrestling, in the wrestle. Why you ask for my name? It's Pili. It means I'm on duty, I'm changing the name.
I'm not sure what you're bringing. I mean, God does change the name, and He changed the.
You're saying that we have a source for this, and
we have a source for this in the Quran.
Being the wrestle match between Yaakov and the angel,
right.
He asked him, "What's your name?" He said, "Why are you asking me my name? It's pulling. It's changes."
Okay. My name changes. What do you have there, hon? Guys, we're going to. Anybody online want to say anything? I haven't heard a word from you guys all evening. No, because we're going to sign off.
Rabbi,
yes.
Sorry I joined late.
These guys, I want to hear you guys hear these guys. Go ahead.
One question. When we say before we go to sleep, Mimani Michal, Mismari Gabriel, Nafnai Oriel. So you're saying that the names are interchangeable because each one has a different characteristic. As you mentioned, Gabriel is Gavura.
Yeah.
Michal has another one. So you're saying that the names alter with is that depending on the mission?
The name of a thing indicates what it is.
Yes.
And Hashem is the potter, if you will, who's constantly moving around the clay in different ways and creating different facets. But to use the metaphor that we're using of names, those different facets are an expression of the name, the letters, the Hebrew letters that he puts into it. So taking raw spirituality and using letters to put it this way. You take let me just finish and then I'll let you.
Okay.
You have a rock, right? You can chip it in many different ways, right? And that rock will express different features, different characteristics. So there's this glob, not even a glob, a a spiritual space, a godly space, and he uses his energies to carve out different expressions of it, which we call angels.
So, depending on the mission of the angel, the name changes. In other words, as soon as their mission is complete, they would theoretically dissipate. Correct.
They could dissipate. Yeah.
We have a thing.
So, and so when we daven, we say Mini Michal Mismiri Gabriel. We're thinking not. It's more of an anthropological kind of account, not literally anthropological. But I got it. Whatever the mission is of the force that he sends out, that theoretically becomes the name and dissipates.
Michael is generally associated with kindness, and Gabriel with Gevura, and so they too when we speak like that, we're drawing down those energies.
I mean, Lefanai Oriel, Macharai Raphael, Verashich Inatael, Kel. Sorry, yes.
Herschel.
I just don't quite understand it, because we do say that, these angels came to visit Abraham.
Right.
And then we do say that there are these different malachim. Each there's Michal on my right, Gabriel on my left.
It's just they're all made of the same stuff. So they have different kalim, different vessels. They're all made of clay.
Become Gabriel.
No, Mefoil. No, Mefoil is Mefoil. That's an energy that's created by those letters. Gabriel is created by those.
But
that energy he can take away. He can suck out the name, and it's nameless. It's just energy again, and then he can reshape. I think a potter and its clay is a fairly good.
Is it a non-entity?
Yeah, it becomes a non-entity.
I mean, is it right?
Rabbi, instead of saying clay, can we use the term matarah in Hebrew, the modern term matarah, or goal or objective? We say clay, it gives it a physical kind of I understand what you're saying, but if we say when Hashem is sending a certain matarah, a certain objective, a certain energy in a certain direction,
I'm not following really what we're talking about. We're trying.
He's like you're trying to like formalize it.
Formalize
what an angel is. You're trying to bring it into form when we speak of entity versus non-entity. I don't think we can speak about angels in that way.
No, I'm not saying personal form. I'm saying the objective and the goal when Hashem sends.
There's a certain goal he wants to achieve.
So that of course assumes that name of the objective he wants to assume, because the character, the name character, the force that Hashem is sending with the ultimate goal or purpose. I'm sorry.
It means that the Michal now is not the Michal.
Wait a minute, one at a time. Go, Herschel.
That means that the Michal that there is now is not the same one as since creation, because the moment that he went, say, to visit.
You want to know, does he stand forever? Is Michael and he's always there?
I mean, that's what I always thought. This is Michal.
Could be.
In 100 years from now, this
will be the same Michael.
And it won't dissipate, and then Hashem will just have a new energy that he also calls Michal.
I'm not saying anything different. I'm not saying that he's sucking Michael back into nothing. I'm just saying he could. He could suck him back into nothing and rebirth him in a different way, right? Because all the angel is a particularized form of energy at a particular time.
We also learned that they do this to see.
But what difference does that make to us? What do we care about this?
I have a real story about angels.
What?
A real story about angels.
Yeah.
A girl from Machon Chana, she told about her aunt.
Her aunt?
Her aunt. And
aunt? We say aunt where I come from. Go ahead. Her aunt.
And, she was very, very terrified with something. Every day she will go to work. Somebody followed her. And after 1 month, she couldn't bear anymore. She went to the police. And she said, a man, every time I'm going to work, I'm coming back. And he's following me. And the police come and watch it. And they saw it's true. So they got him and they told him, they asked him, why you follow this? Are you following? He said, yes. Why you do it? I want connection with her. So why you didn't, not nice connection. Why you didn't do till now? He said, every time I see her, she's with 2 men around her.
Oh, wow.
And she used to, from fear, to say, מימיני מיכאל, משמאלי גבריאל. So
Really?
he saw two men beside her and he didn't touch
And he
them.
couldn't approach her.
נכון.
Wow.
It's true.
I believe it.
Wow. Okay.
It's like the Hamas when they came to Israel.
The Hamas?
Hamas, yeah. There was this one yeshiva that they tried to go to terrorize and to kill people, but they couldn't. They found this like, forget exactly how they described it, but this like fiery wall that stopped,
Really?
and they were too scared to fight. What they themselves.
Okay, so
Thank you very much.
wait a minute. I still want to know what do we take away from this?
That
I mean, I'm going to go home and I learned about angels and I learned about, different names of stuff. Well, so
I say maybe what I would,
Yeah.
what I'm gonna go home with, maybe
yeah,
that I didn't really think about and didn't realize until you spoke about it, is that if we're not already like, we're not already sort of, you talked about being broken, you talked about being open, you talked about this idea of being like clay, then we're like too filled up with our own like agendas or like gripes, or then we're never really going to get sort of this like love that Hashem really wants to give to us. Like we can receive only when when we're sort of like let go, and then when we let go and we like open ourselves to Torah, then that's going to actually fill us up, and we're going to have much more of a we'll receive so much more, versus like complaint, like feeling like, I don't know, allowing these negative emotions, say, to take over, and like meanwhile we're like, well, this should have happened, or that, or I wish he was like this, or meanwhile we could be complaining so much that we really want to be receiving, but we're not, like almost like allowing it to happen. So you're like giving the formula of how to really receive and really be fulfilled.
beautiful. To me, I'm hearing what you say in one line. The more you give, the more you get. And if you're not giving, you ain't going to get.
Or yeah, and the more you, I guess, or the more we're like open and like having that bittul, like that, like kind of just surrendering and not allowing to give ourselves into those like the yesh of like being upset about this or that, like, and let things take over us. Like the more we can just sort of let that go, the more we can really see the beauty and be given to. Like it's sort of like that reception, that being that receiver, trying to get yourself to that place. Because ultimately we're going to be receiving so much, and so much love will feel and recognize from the Torah.
Amen. Shkoyach. Thank you.
What I want to
Amen.
practice,
Yeah.
I practice over the coming week is how my behaviors, my everyday behaviors, whether it's sleeping or working out or studying or watching content, just being mindful of what its opposite is, and where am I on that sway.
Good. Yes. Anybody else before we close up shop?
way that you actually take the shtus and convert it to shtus kedusha is only if you're willing to take in that shtus kedusha and be a receptor. Otherwise, you can't be giving off that shtus kedusha and transforming that shtus delu mindset into that complete foolishness until you
know how to be a fool.
Right into the down.
That's,
Into the down.
you have to be able to be a fool of holiness. My wife would tell me that I qualify. I don't know. Bye.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.